Founder of Calgary 420 Cannabis Community. Thanks, guys. We've got Marc and Jodie here. We've got them here because of the BC3 extradition. That's Marc Emery, Michelle Rainey, and Greg Williams. The Canadian government's known about Marc's selling of cannabis seeds for over 10 years. He had a cannabis seed catalog in his magazine that he distributed to all the Canadian government officials at the federal level. He also claimed on his tax forms, cannabis seed vendor. This is again for 10 years and nothing has been said. He was allowed to do this in Canada. The DEA decided to come in and destroy our sovereignty and kick our culture down and stomp on it, and they want to extradite the three of them. They want to put him in jail for life for selling cannabis seed. They claim he is a kingpin drug dealer, which of course the Canadian government and all Canadians disagree with, and we know that's not true, of course. Come on up here and see the glass art, folks. See the t-shirts and that. Like I said, Marc and Jodie and Greg Krieger are all very accommodating, more than willing to talk to you, more than willing to answer your questions, and happy to sign your autographed t-shirts and whatnot, or bongs. Oops. I'm going to get Marc up here right away. We're going to get him to do some talking for you. If you got some questions, ask him, please. He's, again, very accommodating.
That's a rare sight. We should take a shot at that.
Of course, you know Marc Emery is considered the Prince of Pot. He's a strong supporter of Ron Paul in the U.S. for presidential candidate. And I'll let him talk to you now, and he can elaborate more. Thanks, Marc.
Thank you very much, Keith, for that great welcome. And thank you, my fellow friends from Calgary. It's great to see everybody here. And this, I hope it's not my last visit to Calgary.
We hope not too, Marc.
My last visit. And this is such an awkward thing. And
You're not used to it.
no, I'm not.
Yell it loud.
I'm facing life imprisonment without parole
That works.
to go to the to be extradited to the United States for what did I do? I sent cannabis seeds to consenting adults over an invisible line. An invisible line that doesn't even exist to people who didn't complain about what I did, who loved what we were doing. I helped them grow lots of weed, they grew lots of marijuana, they wanted everybody was happy. People sent me millions and millions of dollars. And we gave out $4 million to activist groups, including groups in Calgary, all across Canada, the United States and the world. We paid for the Supreme Court challenge to make marijuana legal in 2003 that we lost in the Supreme Court 6-3. We paid for ballot initiatives in Arizona, Alaska, New Mexico, Washington, D.C. with this money. We paid for the global marijuana march around the world for 6 years, $35,000 each year. We raised a lot of money, and we used it to overgrow the government, both on the political realm and in the botanical realm. It was a great idea 11 years ago. It's still a great idea today. I'm totally proud of everything I did in that regard, and I look forward to continuing to overgrow the government with your help. Do we want pot legal? Yeah! We absolutely do want pot legal. And why do we want it legal? So people aren't going to jail for what amounts to a peaceful, honest lifestyle choice. What we do is honest. It's transparent. It's healthy. It's good for us. It's good for society. Why do you think Canada is one of the greatest places on earth? Why does everybody in the world want to come to Canada? Because we are all chronic. This is, according to the United Nations, more Canadians smoke marijuana than any other westernized country in the world. And are people trying to flee Canada? No, they're not. People want to come to Canada. They love our tolerant attitude. They love the idea that in Canada you can aspire to actualize whatever dream you have. And a lot of those dreams, if you're a musician or a computer programmer or an artist or a filmmaker, are inspired by marijuana. So many of the great things we take for granted were given to us by chronic potheads. Look at what Bill Gates gave us, Microsoft, and the Windows operating system. He's a pothead and was a pothead. His partner, Steve Allen, still is a pothead. Stephen Jobs, Steve Wozniak, the founders of Apple Computers, total potheads, and look at what they've given to the world. iPhones, iPods, every kind of computer platform. You look at Moses Nyberg, gave us City TV, Mike Cruz, total chronic pothead. Ted Turner, CNN, Cable Network News, total chronic pothead. Most directors in Hollywood are potheads. Most actors are potheads. Most people who do musicians, do reggae people, potheads, hip-hop potheads, jazz, blues, rock and roll, potheads, everything. Think of this. Take your record collection, divide it into two. The music that was done by people who smoked pot and the music you own, little of it that you're going to have, by the people who didn't smoke pot. And then decide what would you rather be in a desert island with. The artists who smoked pot and recorded, or the people who didn't smoke pot and recorded. Because what are you left with? Even the country western guys like Willie Nelson and Toby Keith, they're chronic. They would be in your pothead collection. You're going to be left with a bit of Christian music, a bit of old classical music, and that's it. All the great artwork of our era was brought to us by people who smoked lots of marijuana. And yet, how do we get treated? We're hunted down like dogs. Hunted down like more Canadians will be arrested this year for marijuana than any other previous year. We've been arresting at least 10,000 Canadians for marijuana every year since 1967. That's 40 years, 3 generations. We've persecuted Canadians for their peaceful, honest lifestyle. And exactly what threat are we to society? None whatsoever. Are we a threat?
No!
Are we good people?
Yes!
That's right. We should be respected like good people. In fact, it's the prohibition that encourages us to hang out with criminals whom we would never choose to be around. Is anybody here want to buy their weed from Hell's Angels?
No!
No, of course not. We don't want to buy our weed. We want to buy our weed in stores that are taxed and regulated and licensed. So we know what we're getting, so that age of majority cards are checked, so that the product being sold is safe and legal and that taxes have been paid on it. That's what we want. We want the same environment everybody else has when they buy a car or buy a home or buy groceries. We want to be able to choose something safe and legal and taxed and regulated, and so we know what we're getting into, and that everybody out there in this city knows nothing sinister is going on. We'd love nothing more than to be fully accepted and integrated as first-class Canadian citizens, willing to pay our taxes, willing to buy our weed at a regulated store, willing to participate in the mainstream economy if people would just give us a chance. Do we want pot to be in the mainstream?
Yes!
That's right. Do we want to be able to buy our weed like we buy our alcohol, which is much worse for us?
Yes!
Of course we do. We want, and look what's out there that's legal. They're letting us buy. Anyway, it used to be that tobacco was the #1 killer in North America, but it is no longer the #1 killer. It's number 2. The #1 killer is obesity. And why? Because sugar is out there. The killer drug sugar is everywhere in your drinks. I see you all right there with a sugary drink. You're all killing yourselves, but that's all right. That's your choice. We have a right to decide how we're going to die.
Freedom of
And you're
choice!
certainly not going to die smoking marijuana. And you're certainly going to take years off your life by drinking sugary drinks and by smoking tobacco and taking prescription drugs. That's what I often tell parents. Don't be frightened of your kids smoking marijuana. It's the smartest thing they could ever decide. Because what are the alternatives? You don't let them buy the pot, they're going to be raiding their parents' pharmacy in that medicine cabinet in the bathroom. They're going to be stealing whatever drugs they can get, crushing them up, snorting them, sharing them, giving them to their friends. They're going to be sniffing gas, sniffing glue. They'll be raiding your parents' liquor cabinet. They'll be getting their friends who are 18 buying tobacco for them. They'll do any number of things to get high. So knowing that young people are endlessly experimental and want to get high, you could not do a more serious hazard to your kids than discouraging them from marijuana. Marijuana is the one thing we should encourage them to. What's the alternative? Drink a lot of booze, pile in a car, and go driving? Crazy talk. And yet that happens so often in every community. Young people drink, they get into a car, they get into an accident, tragedy occurs, never happens with pot. Every police officer will tell you, pot people are easy to arrest, they're pacifistic, they don't fight back, they don't complain. You know how a drunk is when a cop arrests a drunk? First he starts getting belligerent, then he fights him, then he starts crying, then he wants to be their friend. A drunk in a cop's custody goes up and down full of strange and dangerous emotions that a cop has to deal with. Pot people just go, oh sorry, here, take me away. That's it. We don't fight back. You ever heard of anybody